package and approval, and that's the only moment of approval that we've had for that whole life.
What's up, everybody? What's going on today? We are in Venice Beach, but not the beach. About 8 blocks from the beach. Park right here, and a church, a Baptist church, and they're all making speeches. Very peaceful here. No police that I see. What's up, everybody? How you doing today? What's up? Chilling here. Speaking of what's up. Hey, what's up? So, yeah, we're like a mile from the beach here in Venice. A mile east of the beach, and this is a meeting at the Baptist church here, and there's a park right here. This area is called Westminster in Venice. Very windy today. I was thinking about going back to the boardwalk after this, but super windy. Narrow street here to drive. One way, buddy. Some cool signs, cool people. So we're gonna head back to the meeting point around the corner. Let's walk through the park. So over there's like 1,000 people right across this park. Very windy. Congratulations to the white folks, she said. All right. Yeah, these speeches can get a little long and dull, but let's see how it goes. You can walk back to the boardwalk if you guys want. Let's see if we got any good speeches.
When I hung out in Terrell, Texas, where I'm from, yeah, that's where Jamie Foxx is from. that, sister. I've been arguing with that all week. You're just as complicit. You are just as responsible for what's happening in this country. Racism. We made this mess. Now I'm talking about our ancestors, our family. We are suffering. We are fighting for the sins of our ancestors. We've got to clean up their stupid ass mess. So do more. Don't just leave here and pat yourself on the back because you showed up.
Yeah.
And you stood beside some black people and you go posted on Instagram and
Here we go again.
Facebook. Good for you. That's awesome. But then you tell your friends they gotta get together. We've got to do more. It is our turn to clean up this mess. Are we with me? Black lives matter. 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 Black lives matter.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Kenneth Allen. I'm a super positive person, so I'm gonna keep this message real positive so everybody can go home with some positivity today. So it really warms my heart just to see everybody out here right now, white people, Asian people, Hispanic people, everybody out here supporting the cause, supporting unity, supporting everybody to be seen as equal. So like me being from the hood and seeing this and hearing my grandmother talk about how she couldn't drink water at certain places, and just to see us come together like this now, this is powerful. This is very powerful. The world is watching us right now. This is not just Phoenix, this is not just your neighborhood, this is the world, everybody. This is the first time that everything that is going down has been televised. And we're getting protests from every state across the United States, across the world. So I just want to take the opportunity to thank everybody for being here, for thanking everybody for supporting black people, supporting this cause, and please continue to have these tough conversations with people. That's the only way that things are going to change. Because you affect you, you affect you, you affect you. Whoever's eating at your table, that's who you should be talking to. And then those people talk to other people. And that's how things get changed. We have to change up here first. We have to change the mind first before we can do everything else. So make sure you guys have these conversations. Talk to your black friends. Please don't be silent. Please don't be silent. If you hear something racial, please correct these people. Please correct them. You have to do that. That's the only way these things are going to be able to change. Thank you.
Yes, it is. Hello, everyone. So, for the past several weeks, just like a lot of y'all, been at home. I've been scrolling through social media, just looking at how diverse this crowd is. And I've been really talking with my friends, trying to say, wow, is this just another lip service? Is this another moment? I haven't seen it before, and I've read about it. During the Reconstruction era, then just right afterwards, they were scared and intimidated, so they issued the Black Codes and the Jim Crow laws. Then afterwards, we fought and we marched. And yes, we got several laws passed, but we know those laws was watered down. Those laws were diluted. So I had to today come out here and see people that don't look like me. And to be quite honest, deep down inside, the part of me have hope. Then another part of me is like, is this real? Yeah. Is this really real? So let me spit some facts to y'all. All these companies and businesses that's donating right now, they're dropping 100,000, 500,000, a million. Even the Jordan brand drop 100 million. They are trying to placate us. They're trying to pacify our anger. If they really care about black cause, donate to HBCUs. If they really care about the black cause, donate to our black communities. They are donating to these nonprofits that we don't know where the money is actually going for. All 435 representatives are up for re-election. Can we channel this energy? Can we call our representatives? Can we actually create change? I'm tired of being tired. The front line is not sustainable. Let me say that again. The front line is not sustainable. And I appreciate all the energy that the front line is giving us. But it's up to us now. It's up to people that's actually practicing social distancing at home. We need to get on the phone and call our representative and hold them accountable. That's the only way we are going to change. You cannot preach black power without political power. Once again, you cannot preach black power without political power. We have to be politically educated on how we're going to change the system. It's very frustrating, beyond frustrating, that a lot of my friends, some of them live in lower socioeconomic, underprivileged neighborhoods. And they say, man, I don't trust these white people, man. Like, they're up to no good. And I don't blame them. Because they're still, hell, we saw over 30 million people file for unemployment. And that's deep. We are living in a crucial time. I love this country more than anyone else. I am very fortunate to being in this country. I love this country so much, I have no problem telling the country what the fuck they're doing wrong. That's how much I love this country. I love each and last one of y'all, and I'm gonna make sure you guys understand we have the strength. Because when you liberate black people, we liberate everyone. Understand that.
Hello. What up, everybody? Thank you all for coming today. I'm Beleza. I'm a poet, a dancer, and the leader of the Black Irish Resistance. So, can I get a real quick? No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Thank you. I'm going to say that 3 times at a point in the poem I'm about to read. I would love for y'all to join me when I do it, okay? So here's a poem I wrote about this experience. I hope it hits your heart, resonates with your soul. And at the end, remember, go home, research 5 black businesses you can support today. Email, text, or call 5 friends. Tell them to do the same, because local economy is the backbone that will push this thing forward. This poem is entitled Crisis. How many breaths will it take to talk about this ISIS? George Floyd has been murdered! They chant now his name in Minneapolis streets. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. The rage ripping open the barely stitched sutures of Trayvon Martin's family. muscles sore with hate. That's right, sore. Curse George Zimmerman. Curse Derek Chauvin. My eyes still cry, sis, for 9/11 and how this ISIS, this George Floyd, cuts barbs like this stymied Ben, this Sandra, she bled, brown skin bled into this land, bleed now into these streets. These murderous, racist cops are killing we. How many? Well, you see, George Floyd is just the first, most recent name in this unfortunate wheel of black infamy. And here we sit without this dreadful equanimity of Dave, the corpse of Breonna Taylor, freshly rotting in the foothills of Zion. Or is it the rolling, running slopes where rhythm and motion's black? Still better not get too uppity. Reconstruction construct to the tacit entrenchment of these segregation walls. The impetus of Ahmaud. My Tamil rice bowl falls to the floor, son. Cry, sis. It's our turn. Get them hoods up, up, up for Trayvon. For I grant you this. There is much ado, it needs to be said, about Oscar. How many breaths will it take to talk about the ghost of Eric Garner choking anew in the flesh of George Floyd? Question mark, for we will not allow your daily dollar short, rich, white, false, promise, philanthropy, the paltry do you never really do. Casting these roles in isolated aisles to rot in the no man's land between two towers. Samsara well. How many wept raw can cry now together? Sis, question mark. Cuts barbs like this stymied bed. Death Sandra, she bland. Brown skin bled into this land. Bleed now into these streets. Alors, je répète, how many breaths will it take to talk about this ISIS? For I dread Scott again and again. These rules of reconstruction for eternal segregation for this earth of coursified black corpses. Thank you. If you want to follow my work, my poetry, my dance, and of course the Black Irish Resistance, I'm at Zen Bedhead on Instagram. Peace.
Do you guys mind if I get the little brother in right here, Darius? He wants to say a couple.
Right now, it's going in the world. It's not okay. It is not okay. The racist police, not okay. All these names on these posters, not okay. All these white cops killing black people, not okay. We need to make a change in our country. And we need to start it now. This is not okay.
man one more time. I just want to give my condolences to all the families of those slain, all those who've been brutalized by police, and to all of the black people lost in the system, lost in the prison industrial complex. Now, for the last 4 days, I've had this pit in my stomach. I wake up with it in my stomach. I've been going to sleep with it in my stomach. But you know what? This hasn't just been the last 4 days I felt that. It's been for the last 4 years. And before the last 4 years, I've been feeling that almost my whole life. But I was told I had to sit down and shut up and stop making it about race. But now, I have to tell you that I'm scared.
It's a really painful world right now, and nobody needs that. Take your love and take a walk. You can't behave yourself. Exactly. Goddamn right.
Alright,
Goddamn right.
listen here. So I'm scared of a weapon right now that's trying to do exactly that to us. There's a weapon, there is a machine that's been created that can spread mass disinformation within seconds.
Right.
There's a machine.
Goddamn right.
There's a machine that can be used to divide us. That can be used to
Goddamn
distract us from what's going on in our society right now. There is a machine that governs every aspect of our lives and we don't even know it right now. And that machine is something we don't even want to give up because it's the only reason these protests happen in the first place. And that's our phones, the internet. This machine is being weaponized as a device and an instrument of hate. The internet is being weaponized as an instrument against black people, and a lot of people are completely blind to it. The Civil War never ended. It just became hidden. And right now, as you try to say things changed in the 60s, but ignore how they basically wrote everything off in the 70s, 80s, and 90s for being too radical, a whole world of white supremacy, of hate speech, of radicalism, of misinformation and conspiracy is going on, sweeping the nations by millions of people right now. And I want to tell a lot of you here, because this is Silicon Beach. I grew up in LA. This wasn't always Silicon Beach. But I welcome you here. This is Venice Beach. But I welcome you here if you're going to fight for us. Because you'll fight for us by saying you're going to put little banners up on Amazon saying support Black lives, but then sell the police billions of dollars worth of technology to track us down. You don't say you're going to support us by giving out your chump change. Jeff Bezos made $70 billion last year. His company is worth $1 trillion. That means he made 1,999 times. If he gives us a few million, that's not even chump change. That doesn't even come out to a penny. So many of you work with him. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of the widespread hate speech that is going on in your platforms right now. That Facebook, that Twitter, that Instagram, that Reddit is doing nothing about for the sake of money. I used to work in marketing for 5 years, and if I want to, I could have a product and an ad. I could target a white person from fuck nowhere, Wheatlandville, who's never even seen or interacted with a black person, who was raised with certain values, who was between 15 and 24, who likes Fall Out Boy, babies, and also I can target them to make sure I hit people that don't like black people, who vote right wing, who support conspiracies. So I can take that, whatever propaganda I want, and force it into the minds of people who don't even know it because it's being disguised as jokes. It's being disguised as memes. And the internet is governing every single moment of our day-to-day lives. It is ingrained in our society right now. And we need to start calling out the internet for what it is and what it has become. The internet is an institution. It is a social institution with white people owning the majority of wealth and influence over this nation and over the minds of all the people plugged into it. When you have Zuckerberg, when you have Twitter, when you have Snapchat, Instagram, controlling the narrative of everything happening right now, who is framing these narratives? What voices are at these tables where they're making decisions that affect our lives? Why do I have to leave my house and fear for my safety because someone's allowed to spread all the hate speech and lies about me they want?
Jack Dorsey!
I'm sure you guys remember. I'm sure. So I'm just here today and say to all you people who work in tech, hold these companies accountable. This machine cannot keep going with your fist in the air saying, Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Black Lives Matter! Thank you. Black Lives Matter!
One second, I gotta let one of our people make an announcement. Hey everybody, my name's Sarah, and I'm a local and activist in the community. Hello everyone. We have been fighting tirelessly for not just Black Lives Matter, but for the community as well. And I shared a little bit the other day, but I want to share something with everyone here about Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter start in the community before anyone gets killed. It starts with our community spaces, sacred spaces, cultural spaces. It starts with education. It starts with mental health. It starts with caring about our Black youth in our community while we're here. Not after we're leaving out. So I hear a lot of people out here who
Thanks,
want to know
pause.
what they can really do. And the guy that just spoke before me said something
Thanks,
really
pause.
powerful about social media and the internet. And we can do something. So everybody out here that wants to be an ally, or better yet, an accomplice to the underserved and underprivileged communities of color, we can take a stand now. And what I'd like for everyone to do is make this church go viral. So I'm going to ask everybody to get out their phone right now. Get out their phone right now and follow us at Save X Venice. And I want everyone right now to please take a selfie of them in front of the church right now. Post it, tag everyone you're standing next to that you know. Let everybody see how many of us stand in solidarity with the African American community. We need help now. Please show your support. Save this church from becoming a mega mansion. They've been passing out propaganda even within this crowd, saying that that's not what happened. The new congregation has been foreclosed on. Wherever he said he moved our church is gone. It's in disarray. It does not exist. Okay? But this church is still here. And nobody should live in a church that is 111 years old, deeded by Black families. Okay? Nobody should put their jacuzzi above our altar. Nobody should put their jacuzzi above our altar. Save Venice. Save the First Baptist Church of Venice. And let's start showing the community what Black Lives Matters means.
Well, hi, all of you. So great to see all of you. And I want to just tell a little story here. I have been an activist in Los Angeles for quite a few years, along with Lydia Ponce and Keith over here. And we have marched the streets like you wouldn't believe. And we kept wondering, where is the youth that should be coming to these marches? All of a sudden, climate change happened, and kids were going out in the street fighting for change in the climate change industry. And I want to thank each one of you, the youth of this country. It is time that you took over. I'm 72 years old. I had you the baton. It is up to you now to fight for the rights of yourself and your family and for you as period. Thank you so much, and we love you. I wanted to tell you a little story. I was married to a racist cop. And let me tell you, when I met him, he was not like that, but then I should have wondered, he was from Des Moines, Iowa. And then all of a sudden, I put him through the academy. Then all of a sudden, I started getting beat up in a pretty regular basis. There were many times that I had to run out of my house because he was shooting a gun. He wanted to kill me in the back, and I would fall. One time he got me by my hair, and I was divorcing him at this time, grabbed me by my hair with a uniform on, shoved me up against a wall, lifted me up this much, held a gun to my head, and said, "Do you love me?" Now, what do you think I said? Of course I love you, you know. But I had to leave my hometown of Albuquerque because I was afraid that he would kill me. After my divorce, I was stopped on a regular basis by police officers, and my car was searched all the time. I know what it is to feel racism. I know what it is to be called a dirty wetback. I know when there was kids, girls that came into my high school who were from Texas who wanted to kill me and my sister because we were Mexicans. They tried to run us over. They would wait for us to beat us up. I understand that. I understand when I went to Iowa with my ex-husband. I was not allowed in restaurants. I was not allowed in restrooms and even carnival rides. People would just stop and stare at me. And let me tell you, I know how it feels. But I am so glad that this Black Lives Movement has awakened not only this nation, but the world. And you have to continue it on. We will not be stopped. 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 Thank you very much, and save the church.
What's up, y'all? I'm Stephanie. I took off my rollerblades for y'all. I live in Venice via Brooklyn, New York, and I wrote this speech last week, and thank you for this opportunity. How ironic is it that I have been holding my breath when George Floyd desperately cried out for his? How ironic that I felt out of my body tense and anxious when George Floyd's face was pushed into the pavement by the officer. How ironic that my stomach hurts when George Floyd's final words were, "My stomach hurts." My neck hurts when George Floyd was pushed down for 8 minutes and 46 seconds by the officer's knees. I kneeled last week at a protest for 5 minutes, and all I could think about was George Floyd died by the officer kneeling. And last week, I broke curfew at the beach while two black college kids were tased in their cars, windows smashed, dragged out, and zip-tied. You get the point. I am white, I am privileged. There was one black family in my hometown of Sedona, Arizona, and I have taken the color of my skin for granted. I replay his video over and over in my head, thinking about all of my beautiful, powerful black friends and what stories they must have and how I've never asked. And I know that those stories will probably never happen to me, and I am filled with pain at the thought of anything else happening to them. Moving my body has been the hardest it's been in a long time. I feel heavy, and I remind myself over and over again, it's not about me. This is not about my ignorance or any guilt I could hold about my privileged upbringing or the color of my skin. And me holding in all of the pain and suffering I see will literally do nothing. But I can transcend my feelings into action. Many of you may be holding back due to not wanting to say the wrong thing or offend. And while you wait, hundreds of black people are being arrested and killed. I have awareness now, and it took me 28 years. It took me crying in my bed watching George Floyd's video from beginning to end. And then a fire lit up deep in my soul. I urge you to leave your comfort zone. There's nothing there. And stop saying sorry and stand up for those that are fucking tired. Tired of living in fear.
So this to Sweden?
And yes, I am very late to the party. And it doesn't matter. What matters now is that I am here. And I'm not leaving. I'm just getting started. Join me.
Greetings, everybody. Please excuse me for a minute. My name is Ishta Flores. I am Mexican and have become a citizen of this country where all of the immigrants come. People who are looking for hope. People who want to speak their own truth, as this lady, come to this country. I am your typical immigrant. I come from a town, my father was a healer, my grandmother was a healer. My grandmother, an Aztec woman, who suffered discrimination as every single indigenous people in all of Latin America, in the United States, and the original people all over the world. I am a woman who came here, struggled, had children, walked away from a toxic marriage, raised two young men who are part African American. They are culturally Mexican because I am Mexican. My son came to visit me during the epidemic when we were locked down. And I saw my youngest son, who is dark complected. And for the first time in my life, I was worried about my son. I told him that he can be anything that he wants. That if he wants to be African American, please go to Africa and learn about all those beautiful traditions. He's Mexican by culture, both of them. I am not a racist. I defended at 8 years old a young girl that was physically abused in Mexico by these thugs. And I stood up to defend her, and of course I couldn't do anything to them because they held my shoulders. Later I found out that she was gay. I will defend anybody with my life. I have benefited of having friends who are Caucasians, who have supported me, who have guided me, that are my clients because of the businesses that I chose to have. But I remember working 3 jobs, a full-time job, a part-time job, and a Saturday job, and on the weekends I cleaned so that I could get my children ahead. I am a self-made person. But it doesn't work to do anything at all.
What's up, Cypher Z?
We have to reach out to others. And if we are not understood by others, we have to teach them with love and compassion and understanding, because we must remember, when we took this physical body, we chose the lessons, the race, the nationality, the country, and the religion. Yes. I am here to speak for peace. change the world. Our entire journey for over 7,000 years has been of wars, destruction, and killing. And the results are, it does not work. We women are powerful, but not the kind of power that everybody talks about. Do you know why we have power? Because we give the gift of life. Every time a woman has a baby, we give hope to the world. Every time we have a baby, we are connected to every single woman in the world. Even those who don't know give children, we give children for them. We are powerful. Do you know why so many people went out and what happened to George? Because they, like me, when I saw what was happening,
Thanks, Mr.
I
Sweden.
thought about my sons. I heard him calling Mama. I am a mother. I lost a son. Everybody, every single woman lost a son. We women. Do you know that men follow women? Men are dying for tenderness, love, compassion. We don't have it. We have become too masculine. I don't mean to insult anybody, but for women to make it in this world, this patriarchal world, women are becoming what I call she-men. And that's what the men are marrying. And we are trying to find our femininity through plastic surgery, through all kinds of things that are altering our being. But fortunately, we give birth. And every time we give birth, we are reborn. Wake up! Who's setting the trends? Men! They have no business telling us how to dress. They want us to be ourselves. Wake up your femininity. Turn inward. The answers are not out there. The answers are in your heart. Our indigenous communities are dying. They have the answer for us. Our environment is being destroyed. We women can do that. We can change the world. We have love. We have compassion. We have generosity. We are willing to kill ourselves for our children. Wake up. I am grateful for the millennials. They are the ones that decided I'm not eating more junk. I'm not doing what they have been doing. And now they are going to have children. And hopefully we will wake up before we destroy our beloved mother.
What's up, Robert Mack? How you doing, Robert Mack? Mr. Sweden? Yeah. Nice speech there. Cool lady. No internet in Nevada, Laughlin, Nevada? Yeah, internet's tough, yeah. Sometimes.
Hello, my name is Michael Rosario. I'm not from here originally, I'm from South Florida. But I've grown to really admire the Spanish community. It's kind of grown into me, especially as I've started to help coach kids over there, just right over there in this little park here. Race has always been an interesting topic for me because my dad is black with, as well, the indigenous people of the island of Puerto Rico, and my mom is a white
Yeah, I got
Cuban.
T-Mobile also, sucks.
I have cousins who are as white as a Hanes t-shirt. Other cousins who are just black. And I also have cousins who have the last name Yi. I don't know how that happened. But the reason I'm saying that is that
This guy dressed
that
up
is
for the
what I can see as
girls or
this,
something.
This this work that we're doing here is similar to what was happening before in the 60s, and my family is a product of that. If COVID had started out in the 1960s, I probably wouldn't be here. I did a little research. I knew that there's a legislation passed, a court decision passed in 1967 or 8. It's 1967 in Virginia that allowed these interracial marriages, made them legal. And I knew that much, but one thing I found pretty incredibly ironic was that the case is called Loving versus Virginia. And I think that
Yeah, some of these speeches are cool, like that last lady, but this guy's just gonna go on and on. See something different around here. Yeah, just trying to get some attention. Some people giving speeches a little bit much. What are you setting up here?
Huh?
What are you gonna set up here?
Black Lives Matter, and I can't bring a lot of people.
Oh, cool. Like shirts or hats?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about masks? You got any masks?
Huh?
You got a mask?
Yes, I do.
That's a good idea.
I don't have any that says anything. They're just basic N95 masks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, but I want like a BLM mask or something. It would be a good seller. Yeah. All right. See you later.
Okay, buddy.
Yeah, speeches are all right, but let me know if you want me to walk back to the Venice boardwalk. That's another option. Some speeches are cool, but some guys just ramble on and on.
And you can see with these corporations as well, like even though that they are more likely than not looking at it from a money perspective. Oh, these guys think it's cool, so we're gonna kind of catch on that. But there is support. And last thing I kind of want to say is this is awesome right now because it's a movement and we all feel it. And some of us may not have solid jobs right now because of the pandemic and everything, so we have time and energy to do this. But what I really want to call for everybody, including myself, is to continue doing this even when it's not cool. When it's not the first thing on our minds. To continue to keep that energy when we're going to vote, when we're going through our daily lives, when we see injustices that it might be a little awkward, you don't know if you should step in or not, go ahead, step in. Go ahead, say something. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you for your time. Thank you.
Bravo. What's up? Tony Lang, what's up?
That man teaches soccer across the street here, right? Okay, this right here is what's known as Oakwood Community Park. Yeah, that used to be houses over there. People gave up their houses to make that park. Just like people gave up their houses to make this a church. This, EO Home Square, was the heart of the community. And unfortunately, the Penskes have decided to cut the heart out of the community. They have bought up this land. There are people over here who turn this park into a dog park because they don't like the dog park over on Westminster a half a mile from here.
See Mr. Sweden? See you next time.
Elderly people, children from using that park. And that is also a form of entitlement and privilege. And unfortunately,
The boardwalk?
I can't even say they're all white.
All right, I go to the boardwalk soon.
There are all kinds of people who do that. But what I want to say is that, like this building, that park needs to remain part of the community. It is social infrastructure. Penskes took a place where Occupy could have a meeting. We did that, exactly. So anyone who wants to get involved, there's a petition up at SaveVenice.ca. Please sign the petition. Please let the Councilwoman's Bonden's office know how you feel about this. This is very important. They could take this whole thing by eminent domain and turn it into housing, a church, a school, all kinds of things. But they're not going to do that because money talks. And as we know, there is a problem in our building commission and down in City Hall with corruption. It's been exposed. Jose Huizar was taking money from a bag man. Exactly.
This is another long
and there
speech.
you go. He's not even a white guy. Who are you going to blame?
What do you say? We go to the boardwalk or we stay here and listen to speeches?
Race,
Boardwalk or speeches?
all intertwined, sadly. Exactly. He's gentrifying the neighborhood just like Bonn is gentrifying this neighborhood.
Boardwalk? Alright, next vote. Boardwalk.
And let white rich folks generally move in.
Boardwalk or more
This
speeches?
park over here, they're trying to take the park from the community. So whenever you see someone letting their dogs off leash over here, feel free to let them know that that's not okay.
Boardwalk probably not too much.
That's not okay. Now,
Let's
I
see.
want to point something out. A year ago today,
Alright. Little bit more here.
Black in San Leandro was forced into a miscarriage by police officers stomping on her stomach. I know. Has anyone heard about that case? Very few of us have. I'm glad someone has. The reality is, it's not just George Floyd. You know, these things were going on for years and years and years. We had a black president and a black attorney general, and yet Trayvon Martin's killer went free. Michael Brown's killers went free. So the reality is, while political solutions are important, we have to face facts. We don't have easy choices. We have non-competitive districts. We have people going up against each other who are both on the same side of the issues. You realize Joe Biden wrote the Patriot Act? Joe Biden wrote the racist drug laws? Joe Biden helped start the racist political machinery in the prison industrial complex? He did. So that's the sad fact. Whenever we have a choice, they do their best to take it away from us. 42 years ago, yesterday, Robert F. Kennedy was killed in this very city, murdered. And that was a guy who actually was thinking about doing a few things about it. And yet we all sit here and we talk. I heard someone say the word conspiracy. American history is a conspiracy. I'll tell you this much. Franklin Delano Roosevelt said something like to the effect of, nothing happens by accident in politics. So whenever you hear something being couched as a conspiracy theory, realize that that was something that was weaponized to attack people who were critics of the Warren Commission report. It really was. We need, I'll go, but the reality is that we need people to organize and stay organized and get together and create something from this moment. They call me the people of California. You can call me either if you beat up.
Look at this car.
The reason, it's kind of funny, Emerald Black was killed over bad tags on her car. We see that that's not an essential problem these days because the police aren't enforcing it right now. It's, in a way, George Floyd gave us an excuse to come out of hiding.
That's a classic. Chevrolet.
And I believe that was for a reason. It was to prevent political organizing. And someone mentioned the technology that's being used aggressively. Contact tracing technology is being used to target all of you right now at this march. DARPA created the internet. So the reality is we need to work together to find answers to all these problems, and I'm not going to be able to do it in 4 minutes. Oh, thank you. But I will point out that this moment can be used to organize and galvanize this community to fight for justice. And that's what we need to do.
Can I just say real quick, we plan to keep organizing events like this. So we need people like, I heard someone say, let the youth speak. We need more of the youth. So come speak to me after if you want to continue helping your community.
I'm a late bloomer. Hi, my name is David Bush. I'm homeless. I first moved to Venice in 1980. I was a bus mechanic. I had the American dream. I had a Triumph sports car. I had 3 VCRs. I had a front-facing ocean view of Venice Beach on the boardwalk. And that's when the nightmares began, because we elected an illusion, a lie. A person said that it was mourning in America, and somebody has recently said, look what it's brought us, mourning in America. We're mourning the death and the destruction and the genocides that have occurred because we were pursuing money and wealth and property. Let's understand something, people. Somebody said it. Property is theft. If we're going to end this racism, if we're going to end this genocide of ourselves and this ecocide of this planet, we're going to have to get over that illusion of property. And maybe going out in the street and living in a tent for a while will help you realize how much freer you are if you do that. And if you take the police oppression for doing that, and you take the looks of people stuck in their addictions of property, and they're disgusted at you because they're truly disgusted at their own greed. I just want to remind everybody else, as other folks have said, that there are people that bled and died for this property. And they're the people today that are trying to turn this property, not for themselves, but back to the community, as the largest 7 contiguous blocks of community space in Venice. And anybody who claims to represent the community as a council person, or as a leader of the Venice Neighborhood Council, or as a leading citizen, the largest owner of Rolling Stone magazine or Variety, one of the leading names in Hollywood, the Penske families, to say that they're for this community and they want to turn this property into their private mega mansion. They've confused community service with the massa, because there was a place where the massa had the biggest house in the neighborhood, and it was called the Big House. This will be the single largest single-family dwelling in all of Venice, if they're allowed to do this. And their claim is that by preserving the outside of this building as a church, that they're honoring it by their squatting inside of it in their hot tub. There is a reason why here on this event, to mark the change, the end of black murder in this country, and the day that we can date our lives by BF and AF, before Floyd and after Floyd, instead of before Reagan or after Reagan. Let's make this the beginning of that, and let's make this the end of property and the end of greedy gentrifiers.
Hi, can you hear me? I'm just a girl. I speak to you as a survivor of sexual assault, and I want to share with you my experience with the police. It's not easy to talk about these things. I'm really terrified right now, but I feel like I have to, because there are still a lot of people in this country and in this world who believe that the police is here to keep us safe and to protect us. Thousands and millions of people, led by Black Lives Matter and activist organizations, are asking for the police to be defunded. And there are still lots of people saying, no, but we still need the police. Like, what would we do without them? How will we stay safe? So I want to encourage everyone to think about what would a world without police look like. We need to create visions for a world without police, and I don't know yet what that looks like, but I want to tell you what the world with the police as it is looks like. I've been privileged enough to not have to deal with the police for most of my life until I was assaulted. And when that happened, I was alone. I had lost my community. I was really scared. I had nowhere to go. I wanted to die. And Creator connected me with a therapist who helped me stay alive. And she convinced me to go to the police, even though I didn't really want to. She said, you should go to the police and seek justice as a path to healing. So with her support, I gathered all of my courage and all of my strength, and I did that. I went to the police to look for justice. And do you think that the police has given me justice? Years later, I have not had any justice at all. Do you know what the police did? Instead of helping find justice. They humiliated me. They interrogated me. They made me feel guilty and ashamed of what happened to me. Made me feel as if it was my fault. Whereas the person who did it has never been confronted. He's still out there, probably doing the same to other people. So I just want you all to know that the police is not here to keep us safe. No matter what anyone has told you, and no matter what your personal experience has been. Despite the Me Too movement that happened, it was now, 2-3 years ago, so many women came out and we're so brave to speak out about these things that are terrifying and so vulnerable to share. And what happened? How many of those perpetrators have been prosecuted or even investigated? Do you know what the police does when they tell us we can't do anything unless you have a rape kit, unless you collect evidence after you are assaulted, after a crime is committed against you? Do you know what they do with those rape kits? They stack them in boxes, they put them in buildings, they don't even look at them. The police is not here to keep us safe. They are not here to protect us. And I also want to speak to you as an activist. I'm an environmental activist. And there are psychopaths in this world who poison our communities with fracking, with chemical plants. They are killing our elders, our children. They're criminals. And they're brave activists who show up to try to stop them. These activists are the people who are trying to protect us. These activists are the people trying to protect our communities. And which side do you think the police is on? The police is the people who comes and arrest those activists, and they don't do anything at all to address the crimes committed by the companies who are killing us and poisoning us and stealing our health and our livelihood. So the police is not here to keep us safe, and we absolutely must defund them. Our city is currently proposing to give over half of our budget to the LAPD. They absolutely do not deserve that, and it will do nothing for us. So please, everyone, contact your representatives. Let them know. There are 3 budget meetings from the City Council every Monday at 2 p.m. Please, you can follow them online, call in and tell your representatives we do not want to give all that funding to LAPD, and we need that funding to be directed to housing, to services, and to things that people actually need. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Maya. I just wanted to speak on something as a response to the narrative that a lot of people are putting out there with this whole movement on how it's violent and all that. So first off, I'd like to say I love Venice. My mom lived here for years, and although I don't live here, I love Venice, so I'm all about it. I'm tired of seeing white people post about how horrible these riots and looting are, but did not address the horrendous murders of innocent black lives taken by racist police. Y'all don't get it. The least you can do is acknowledge before you want to start a narrative on shaming the black community. The problem is systemic racism. The problem is the way police are trained. They are trained to kill, especially to kill black men. I know not every police officer is like this, but unfortunately, the majority are, and that is why we don't trust the police. That is why we say fuck the police, especially after they keep killing our brothers and sisters. I am a mixed woman, a black woman, and although you may see my skin color and see me as white, I came from black ancestors. Yes, I have white privilege because of how light I am, but I am black. I know what it's like to be forced out of my home with drawn guns toward me and my family by the LAPD. Because why? They were threatened by our blackness in a white community. They were threatened by the black men living in the house, my brothers. I will never forget that day. I was 14 years old with multiple guns drawn from every direction pointing to me, my brother, and my mother to house, which we later found out that they did not have a warrant to do this. They put us on display as the morning traffic went slowly by. Because why? Because of our blackness. Fortunately, it did not escalate that time. But for all the other black lives in which it did escalate, and the innocent lives that were stolen, like in the case of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, and sadly, way too many others, my heart is with you, it's heavy, and you all deserve justice to finally be served. We've all seen what they are capable of, and that is why we are fed up. The whole system is messed up, and I believe that all this upheaval has to happen in order for things to systemically change. The revolution is here. I'm sending my love and prayers out that we do see significant change from all of this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kylie Guerreros-Pipecki, and I'm mixed. I'm Black, Native American, Mexican, Italian, Polish, and Irish. And as a mixed kid, this whole thing has really confused me. But I decided to write something. It's called Go Inside to Go Outside. We breathe and let ourselves go. What we take in is what we take out. That is the act of sharing. We share our energy. George Floyd's breath was stolen. A white man crushed his throat. The oxygen that departed his lungs was left for us. Yes. Let's be conscious of the new air we are breathing. Yes. What George Floyd left for us is the oxygen he left behind. So don't lose your breath. Cry but never lose your breath. Scream but never lose your breath. Because it's only yours and it's yours to share. A lion decrowns a king because he loves his family. How are you going to express yourself to express your family? Just make sure you have pride. Pride creates legacy. Expression creates vibrations. Watch what you put out. Are you doing it for me or you? Just remember, we share this oxygen. I'm holding a protest at my school on June 9th, which is Tuesday. And all the graduates, I'm a senior, we're all going to come out in our caps and gowns, so come out and support us. Venice High!
What's up, everyone? So, I want to ask white people, are you guys tired of being disliked, of being hated around the whole world? It's not a good feeling, is it? You know, the Middle East dislikes European Americans. Africa dislikes European Americans. Asia dislikes Europeans Americans. Why is that? Because you have been sinning. And I'm gonna read this actually real quick. For the love of money is the root of all evil. And it's not that white people are born evil. It's that white people are born attached to their family's generational curse. And what you must do in order to actually free yourself from this hate that is going around the world is you must free yourself of this generational curse. And the way that you do that is to say it's okay to let go. It's okay to let go 100% of ownership of America. It's okay to let go of, having a big ass mansion, and instead I'm gonna support my community. You see?
Yeah, maybe head to the boardwalk soon.
Because God
Super windy. Yeah, this guy's going off a bit.
I'm not joking.
I know everybody's got different opinions.
You know what? I'm gonna let the brothers speak. But I want to say,
all you guys
really want to make real solutions.
Even you, yeah, big YouTube.com. He's a demon or whatever, a troll, but let him speak for now. Not gonna block anybody. Everybody's got their opinion for now. Yeah, some people got extreme opinions. What can we do?
All these companies, they're using us. They're making us hate each other. And I want to say on July 4th, 1776. Only people who own property truly got independence.
Gotta
So why
fight.
we still
Gotta fight
celebrate
back.
that? That's a slap in the face to us. Because European Americans who were poor were also enslaved. Africans who were poor were also enslaved. Latin Americans were being killed for the land. Native Americans were being killed. 90% of Native Americans were wiped out. That's genocide. We don't talk about that shit. We want to talk about Armenian genocide, Holocaust, all that bullshit. What about the genocide that happened here? So what we're doing from now on is we're not celebrating Independence Day because that's like holding the Confederate flag. We're not celebrating Christopher Columbus Day because that's like holding the Confederate flag. So what we're going to start doing is on July 4th, 2020, we're going to celebrate Black and Brown Day. It's going to be a day to heal. It's going to be a day to understand what we've been through. It's going to be a day for love. All right? So we're going to start this, and if you guys want to support, contact me at Wallet Woke on Instagram or Twitter. Wallet Woke. And I want to say thank you guys for coming, and listen, no one is evil. Only thing is the devil manipulates. All right? And the devil has manipulated us and made us addicted to money, but we need to let go of it. Have a good one, everyone. And God bless to George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and everyone else who has lost their lives.
Yawn. I agree, yawn.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick. I grew up here in Venice. My dad is originally Brazilian, black Brazilian man from Rio de Janeiro. This is the first place he came to when he came to this country. He came to the boardwalk and took a few pictures, some of which I recreated for his birthday. My mom is a white woman from Argentina. She also came to Los Angeles, and just as my friend Michael was saying, the only reason that I'm here is because of the Loving versus Virginia case. The fact that love doesn't have a color, love doesn't have a religion, and love is something that belongs to every human being. So I just want to talk real quick about one experience I had here in my hometown, and one that kind of popped into my mind as soon as I saw what happened to George Floyd. Rest in peace. I was driving with a couple of my friends, one of them that grew up in Culver City that I knew from high school, and his girlfriend. And we were driving in Venice, right by the post office, by the Venice Circle. I got pulled over for what was coded as a failure to signal on a turn, which I didn't. But regardless, I pulled into the post office, which is where he told me to pull into the parking lot right there. And I remember a couple things going through my mind. One of which was, thank God I'm with some white people, unfortunately. Second of which was, I hope he's not going to be, trigger happy or reaching for his gun or instigating anything. And I just have to be as nice as possible and kind of, submit my self-respect and leave that for another time and do whatever is going to keep me alive at this moment or keep me from getting arrested. And I also remember thinking that everything I've done in my life, I'd like to think I'm a good cookie in the sense of, never delving into drugs, never being too into drinking, never doing any of that stuff. Not saying that any of that stuff makes anybody bad, but I've always erred on the side of being a good example for others. And I'm an athlete. I play soccer. I played in college. I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship to good middle school and high school here, Crossroads High School, and got a good education. And yet, in that moment, none of that mattered. The fact that I got accepted to go to Berkeley didn't matter. And I'm not saying that to hype myself up, but just to give some perspective. Because the first thing that officer asked me was, "Can I see your ID?" without telling me what I was pulled over for. And that's something that happens to Black Americans every day, and has been happening for hundreds of years. And I think the sad thing is that I had to think to myself and thank God that I was with white people, thinking that would prevent some kind of altercation from happening. To go off of that, I also coach with Venice Beach Football Club right here at Oakwood. We also hold, not right now during the pandemic, but we were holding pickup games at right by the handball courts on the boardwalk every Sunday at 3 p.m., 4 p.m. And those days have meant a lot to me just because everybody from every race, every religion, every creed, every nation, they come out there and just enjoy the game. But what pains me still, and what's pained me since I became aware of my blackness when I was 10, after being called N-word at school for the first time in my life. What pains me is looking at kids that I coach, black kids, white kids, Latino kids, Asian kids, Native American kids even, and looking at their faces and knowing that each one of them is going to have a completely different experience, not because of the person they are, but because of what they look like. And that's one of the saddest things, and that's a thought that came up when I saw what happened to George Floyd. And so I just want to say that the goal, obviously, like multiple people have said up here, vote, do your part, not just coming out to demonstrate, not just posting on Instagram, not just making signs. Do your part outside of this. And the only time we'll know that we're getting close to where we need to be as a nation, as individuals, as a community, is when I can look every single kid in the face that I coach, and I know that he's not going to be killed, he's not going to be arrested, he's not going to be brutalized because of what he looks like, because of what she looks like. So, thank you.
Hi, my name is Clay Claiborne. I've been around for a while, an activist for a while. I was before the reflecting pool in 1963 to hear Martin Luther King speak. I came back to Washington in 1967 to march against the Pentagon. I was in Chicago in 1968 when the police rioted against the protesters at the Democratic National Convention. And I was involved in the protests after Kent State in 1970. And looking out upon you and seeing what has happened in the past 2 weeks since the murder of George Floyd, I only see one downside for an OG like me, and that is this. We can't brag about the 60s anymore. You guys have topped it. This has been the greatest uprising, the greatest speak out, the greatest protest I have seen in my life. In my 71 years. This is a new day for America. I know over the past 3 years, Trump has got us feeling sad. He put his Second Amendment people out there. And by the way, the Second Amendment was put into the Constitution to protect the slave hunting gangs. It was to make sure that they could have their teams go out to recover the runaway slaves and Virginia put it in there because they said, this new Constitution protects us from invasion from a foreign power, but a slave uprising wouldn't be a foreign power. So we need to have something special in there for that. So that's where the Second Amendment came from. One other piece of history I want to give you before I go, just a brief thing. Look into it. In 1619, when the first Africans arrived on the shores of Virginia, there were no white people here. Not a one. What do I mean by that? Now, they were light-skinned Europeans and English. They called themselves Englishmen, or they called themselves Irish, or they called themselves Christian. Nobody called themselves white in 1619. It was in the decades following 1619, and as they instituted racial slavery, and as black and white bondsmen, they called them indentured servitude, revolted together. That was the real problem they have. Look up the Bacon's Rebellion in 1672. black and white bondsmen revolted together, they had to send troops from England to put down that revolt of working people, and then they started instituting racial slavery. Then they invented white people to get working white people, or working Europeans, to unite with their masters against the Native Americans and the African Americans. So that's a history they don't want you to know. Learn that history. The whole concept of white people was developed to oppress actually everybody.
We're gonna have a closing with Lydia, the final. Oh, we have one more. Okay, we have one more.
One more speaker.
Thank you all very much for being here. My name is Oscar de la Torre from the city of Santa Monica. And I just want to say that this is a beautiful community. What I see out when I look at everybody, I see all the hope for the change that we all want. This is the hope, this is the power. Multicultural coalition building, all of us coming together to fight for justice. Growing up in Santa Monica, right across the way, very similar to the Oakwood neighborhood, we grew up in the Pico neighborhood. These neighborhoods were products of racial segregation, or what they call protective covenants and deed restrictions. You couldn't buy property in certain parts of the city, and it was lawful to discriminate that way. That's why these communities are how they look, why you have more black and Latinos or Mexicanos living in certain parts of LA. What I want to address a little bit about the issues, the things that we went through growing up in these communities. Why we were living in poverty and marginalized and segregated. The only government officials we ever met, the first government officials we ever met, aside from our teachers, was law enforcement, police. I got my first ticket when I was 9 years old for driving on handlebars. And I remember that cop telling me, this is going to teach you to not break the law. What it taught me was to not trust police. Later on, growing up, I remember being 16 years old, and we were walking through the Santa Monica High School. I played football, had a Santa Monica High School football shirt on myself. We were walking through, and we heard a dog bark. It was three of us, and a friend of mine reacted to the dog barking and ran. And once he ran, we ran. We didn't even know why we were running, but we heard the dog at the high school. We're like, that's not normal. Long story short, I got arrested, and me and my friend, we got beat up by the police. And the only thing that stopped them is that I grabbed the billy club and I told him to stop hitting me. And I told him I'm only 16. And then he thought a little bit about that. We went to jail, and we were like, man, we were the two fast ones. How'd the slow guy get away? My other friend. Sadly, he walked in like 3 hours later with his legs all in bandages because he told us a story of how the dog grabbed his pants. He was trying to climb a fence, and the dog grabbed him, and the police officer gave him a command in German, and then the dog stopped. He put the handcuffs on my friend and kicked him, and my friend fell face first into the ground. And then the police officer gave the dog another command, and the dog attacked my friend while he was handcuffed. And he bit his leg so bad, and we saw, he lifted the bandages, and we saw, the holes two inches deep and all in the back of his leg. He couldn't walk for weeks. And the family had no money. There was no money to hire lawyers, and who are you going to believe? And that was all, my experience with law enforcement growing up in Santa Monica was one of abuse and terror. When they came into the community, they came in to terrorize us. And after a drive-by shooting, and we were mourning and dealing with a lot of heartache, and they come in and give tickets and arrest more people, and it wasn't, police were not there to help us. It didn't feel like that. And just to fast forward all the way, because I graduated from Santa Monica High School, went to the university, finished my master's degree, and came back to the community to try to make a difference. And we formed an organization called the Pico Youth and Family Center in response to more than 62 homicides that had happened in our neighborhood, from 16th Street to 23rd Street. And we were at war with people in this neighborhood. We didn't even know anybody in this neighborhood. But because of the poverty and the segregation that kept us apart, that division, you grew up in this neighborhood, we grew up in that neighborhood, and we would kill each other, and there was violence. But I never really knew what was the root cause of that violence. They would say it was gangs. It wasn't gangs. The gang was a product of the oppression. The violence that we had between our neighborhoods was a symptom of the larger problem. And what was that larger problem? For the first time in this country, in all my life, I'm hearing it talked about. And they're talking about systemic racism, institutionalized racism. I serve on the school board right now in the city of Santa Monica. We can't get ethnic studies passed because the people that have the power, that live in the north side of the city, the wealthier part of the city of Santa Monica, they monopolize the power in our city. So it's not just this liberal city that some of you think Santa Monica is. It's these, and rent control, for example, is a very good thing. One of the things that they implemented in the city was rent control. But the liberal establishment in the city of Santa Monica has been against people of color's progress, 100%. So we can't get ethnic studies in the schools, so you never learn about black history, you don't learn about Chicano history, Mexicano history, you don't learn about the true history of people. You can't love someone if you don't know them. And if you fear them, you hate them. And we are censored by omission in our schools. We don't learn about each other. We don't use the diversity that we have in our public school system as a source of strength. So when we talk about systemic racism, it's not just police reform. And yes, police reform is where all the attention is at right now. Defund the police unions, that's powerful. Why? Because the police unions fund the elections, make the endorsements, elect the politicians. The politicians, that's why the police have all the cover, because the politicians provide the cover. So the unions have to be defunded. And we have to be critical about all that. But what about our public schools? How do we deal with institutionalized racism in our public schools? We need to make sure that we have diversity in hiring, that the teachers and the staff reflect the diversity of the student body. We need to make sure that the curriculum, that when a child reads the books, the history books, they see themselves in the curriculum. That they see the great work that their people have done. And that all of us, Black, Latino, whoever we are, that we learn about those contributions to our country so we can appreciate the contributions. So, we look at the issue of housing, the issue of gentrification, how our people are being pushed out. Same thing in Venice, same thing in Santa Monica. We're being displaced. And where are we being displaced to? Places like Lancaster and Palmdale, other parts where we're concentrating poverty all over again. And those schools aren't serving the children all over again. And we repeat these cycles of violence, of internal warfare, black on black crime or brown on brown crime, right? But really it's about poor people killing poor people. People that lose hope because there's no opportunity in the hood. And so we need to be reflective of how institutionalized racism works. It's not just in the police departments, it's in our schools. We have to deal with it there. It's in our housing policies, it's in development. The planning department, for example, we just had this whole proposal to upzone Pico Boulevard, and all these small businesses were going to be lost. A lot of Black-owned, Latino-owned businesses were going to be impacted. And we talked to the city officials, and we asked one simple question from the planning department. Do you have one Black or Latino working in the planning department? And the answer was no. In good old progressive liberal Santa Monica, making all these changes, and they didn't have one person of color to give voice to the community. So, with that, I want to say thank you all, especially the young people that are here, the youth that are here. Let's give them a round of applause. For all the organizers, for people that are fighting for community space, for cultural space. Let's give them a round of applause. For all the organizers of today that made this event happen. Because what they're fighting for right here, this is spiritual space, it's cultural space. It should exist to serve the community. That's The people that founded this church, that was their intention. To turn it into housing for rich people would be a disgrace, right?
No
it would
violence.
Be a disgrace. And so we need to fight for cultural space. So with that in closing, I want to say, as a Chicano, as a proud Chicano growing up in the city of Santa Monica, I stand with all black women and men that are fighting for freedom and self-determination. And for all the white folks that I see in all these movements, which we haven't seen, and one thing I've talked to everybody, they've said the only thing or the biggest thing that's different is that the white folks are involved now. And I want to give all of you a round of applause for all the white brothers and sisters that are involved in this movement. Because it's going to take all of us to make the change. All of us got to come together to make the change. Because we've been fighting this for a long time, and the black community's been fighting for a long time, and they weren't paying attention. Chicanos and Mexicanos, we've been fighting for a long time, they don't pay attention. But now, with all of us coming together, black, white, brown, Asian, women and men, we're going to fight, and they are not going to ignore us anymore. God bless you all.
Yeah, there's been no violence here in a while.
Before we leave, let me repeat that. Let me lift you up before you leave. It's going to be painful. It's going to hurt. It's going to sting. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be inconvenient. But do not, my white relatives, do not confuse that for oppression. We do not want you to walk around guilty. We do not want you to walk around shamed. We do not want you to walk around lost. Because if you find yourself amongst the people who always had their doors open to you, like this church, you are here for a reason. And I'm going to share that Gloria Arianas, our Tongva elder, always says that when these winds blow, it's our ancestors coming to, because they heed the call. They heard our prayers. Yes. Because when we walk in prayer. It feels like all day, 24/7. BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color have been living in that prayer. And now that you have arrived, let me tell you what it's not. It is not check the box for a convenient Starbucks 6-hour training on anti-racism and anti-bias. This is something that you have to do every day. You check your privilege, you check your entitlement, and you check your fragility, and you trade that in for the connectedness that you feel today. Yes. It's not because you were doing it. It's not because you were doing it wrong. It's because now you're going to do it better. Okay? I am beholden to every single one of you. We are beholden to every single one of you. And the students, the next time it's going to be mostly student speakers and performers. It's going to be about 75% or 80%. Because today was just a dry practice run on getting it together in 2 days. They were together in a week, but I want to thank them, and I want to call them up. Please come on up. And Lindsay, come on up. And Will. Lindsay, come on up. And Will. Laddie. Sony, because I'm going to lift you up. Laddie, where are your grandkids? Okay. Lindsay. Okay. Sister relative here held an event. They're with us in spirit. Lindsay braved the unknown to have an event on the beach. Here you go. This kid beat me on a tricycle race at Venice High on our centennial, and I want a rematch. This kid Roy. You got to keep him swimming to keep him tired. Lindsay held an event, and we weren't about to have it. And I'm calling out Holly Stetson. I'm calling out the Venice Neighborhood Council. It's really a circus. Calling out the Venice Chamber. Calling out the Abbott Kinney businesses who have boarded up their businesses and then paid Julie Muckruck to post images of the people who have been murdered when they didn't give a flying fuck about Black, Indigenous, and people of color before.
Tell the truth! Tell the truth!
Because they're the ones who basically are about each other in that those bodies and commissions and committees do not represent any of us. Because where are they? If they were courageous and brave and they weren't cowards, they would be here today, setting some flowers and not wanting some mic time and not wanting to get in front of the mic. They know their place because they're not ready. They want your vote. They want your money. So Sister Relative here didn't know how to go about it, but she was courageous enough, and we never put her down on that. We respected the attempt, because Black lives do matter.
Right.
So where do Black lives matter? Right here. Right here. Everybody. Black lives matter right here. Black lives matter right here. Black lives matter right here. And Sister Relative had some VNC members try to co-opt her event. Anywhere you go, there are indigenous relatives and Black relatives who live in the pockets of culture, of community, and we're holding on. You find them. We're everywhere, because every side of Los Angeles in the 4 directions is getting screwed over by gentrification. The systems that do not favor us having a roof or a healthy life or access to health or access to education, everything that you heard of, we lift it up because it's truth. Truth to power. Look around you. This is the new normal. This is the new normal. The sister here is the new normal. Now she's organizing with us because we want to lift up her attempt and her courageous, brave heart. Because you have to do that. You have to be uncomfortable. You have to be inconvenienced. Will, my relative here, went to Standing Rock, came back. I have forged some beautiful friendships and other relationships with this young man coming back and saying, what can I do? Okay, so here's your homework. Because he can tell you, it's not easy, is it? It's not easy. You have to look up and lift up, say Venice, 4 corners for justice. Lift up the students graduating from Venice High. June 9th is when you graduate. Okay, they're gonna line the boulevard. And then look around your community to the ones who did not graduate and lift them up. Lift them up. Find them. What time? 2 to 4 p.m., June 9th on Venice Boulevard. Show up. Show up for them. The other part of homework is white people for Black lives. White people for Black lives, so you can be safe to ask your questions. Do not put the labor on us. Do not put the pressure and the load on us, because it's too heavy. If you want to talk and share with us, share a prayer. Share ask the question, what direction do I go? And we'll lead you there, but we can't afford to do that kind of labor, because right now, the last thing I want to touch on is the environment, because these young ones are going to suffer the EPA rollback, the disestablishment of Native Americans, which the Washpee Wampanoag won. They're not going to be disenrolled in spite of Rump and his Twitler ass in the White House. The fact that we're not having these permits with oil and the extraction. We have to lift each other up and look to the people and say, you deserve clean water. You deserve clean air. You deserve clean food. You deserve that and so much more. So I want you to take a look at the Green New Deal. That's your homework. Because indigenous people, on the last page and the second paragraph to last, and if we're centering BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, that Green New Deal needs to be rewritten as we have done at SoCal 350. Center it, you copy, you cut it, you paste it to the front page, and send it to your legislators. Because no one's going to survive COVID beyond the water that's being privatized by the Regional Commission Board, by the Metro Water Board Commission, and by DWP. They're gonna put the cost on all of us, every single one of us. The water's gonna get expensive. The last homework, boycott Nestle. Nestle everything, including Abuelita chocolate. Buy Chocolate Ibarra. Why is that important? Because they've been pumping out the water from San Bernardino, Arrowhead, all of that. You're paying $3 for a bottle of water. When you're supposed to get it for free. It's a human right. Water is a human right.
Yeah.
So your other notation of homework, if it's not too much to ask, let's see how many of you show up at 1 next Sunday. How many? You gonna be here? Because then we'll have the students really truly lead. We will have music. We will have dancing. We will have another march. We will do whatever it takes to liberate Black lives and Black futures. So I'm going to share a song, and then I'm going to hand it over because we sing it in the 4 directions, and it's a water song from Standing Rock, and it was gifted by Madeline Merritt, who came back. It's from one of the many tribes up there. There's many, many different variations of it, and the reason why is because, like water, sometimes we move slow and sometimes we move fast. Bear with me and join me when you get it, because it's very easy. Wichita, do ya, do ya, do ya. Wichita, do ya, do ya, day. Wichita, do ya, do ya, do ya. Wichita, do ya, day. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey. Wichita, do ya, do ya, do ya. Wichita, do ya, day. Wichita, do ya, do ya, do ya. Wichita, do ya, day. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey. Wichita, do ya, do ya, do ya. Wichita, do ya, day. Wichita, do ya, do ya, do ya. Wichita, do ya, day. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey. Wichita, do ya, do ya, do ya. Wichita, do ya, day. Wichita, do ya, do ya, do ya. Wichita, do ya, day. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya. Ha-cha-cha-may-ya, hey-ya, hey. Oh, my relatives, thank you. 4 songs, 4 rounds for the 4 directions and for the 4 colors of that medicine wheel. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Will. Thank you, students. Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Laddie. Thank you, relatives. Thank you, Sony. Anybody else? It's all yours. And by the way, hate can't be the face of the American dream. That's it.
Just real quick, thank you everyone for coming out and supporting. We got one more announcement, I guess.
So, hello everyone, peace and blessings. My name is Sultan Sharif. I've been working with the local unhoused community. And so I've been here most Sundays, a lot of folks, but I'm new to the community, so I'm trying to stay back and be on the humble and honor folks. We've texted a bunch, but we haven't actually met.
Woke, huh?
We met today, we met right on time.
Being rebroadcast on Woke, huh?
So some of it started
Sneaky Twitch channel.
And I just want to encourage other leaders in the community. So I've been, and especially young people, young Black and brown voices, our trans and queer community. So they were marching, and we were all texting with the organizers. But I felt this thing in my gut, right? And it was like, we need something else going on. Some of you might have been in the crowd when it went off. And then I chased down the march, and then we stopped. And then I was like, no more marching, like stop marching. You know, and so I had gotten the information about what was going on through David sends a lot of text messages. I love you, David. Through David and then me and Mike were texting, and there was a bunch of stuff. But anyway, for some of us, you know, I'm blessed. I'm from Detroit originally. I'm a graduate student right now, and so but I go between different worlds. In my neighborhood in Detroit, you don't walk past the unhoused people on your block and not speak to them, right? And so when they first closed the boardwalk, you know, and even recently, as with Black Lives Marches in town, people are walking.
Hey, Robert, I didn't get your email.
These are not separate issues.
Nope, didn't get your
right?
email.
It's a systemic thing, right? So if you're going to be around for Black Lives Matter, look the person in the eye. A young mother who I've been working with, and she's a beautiful artist. Hopefully she'll perform for us later. She said she was pushing her 3-year-old. Milo's the most beautiful thing in the world. And then people walking with Black Lives Matter signs like cast their eyes away. You know, and she was like, that hurted so bad on her block. You know, and she's like, it's bad enough if you don't see me, but to not see me carrying that sign, like it needs to operate on a deeper level, right? And so for a lot of folks who are bridges, you know, those of us who are always the black kid in the room, the black kid in the class, use your privilege. Right, so we often talk that we're always disadvantaged.
Put it in the comment.
Right, so don't be scared to translate. Don't be scared to invite people, you know, who might be different. You know, stay connected to your roots, to your family, etc. But so for me, I'm an artist. I'm a mixed media performance artist, and so I can talk, you know, way too much usually. But I'm gonna try to not speak. Anybody who knows me also knows that. I can put David to shame for talking too much. We're going to be doing actually a performance, and we're also trying to see if we can get some food trucks out here. So if anybody knows how to get some food trucks, and so what we're trying to do is support organizations. We just met via Instagram, and we're texting all night and this morning, right? And so what I do is with my lab, we try to support folks, so we connected. He sent me the flyer, I texted it out, and went out to a few different networks and circled back. And so we're trying to include. Then I've brought Andre over there, who started playing the drums. Is one of our unhoused brothers on the street, and we got a few other in the crowd. I won't point them out, everybody, but you know who you are. Thank you for being here, especially my God sister. She knows who she is. And so yeah, so please support the unhoused community. Go get some food, but come back. We're going to get some music. I've been working on a mixed media piece. I would love your participation in helping to shape. I did my DNA. And so I'm Muslim, and so we were always taught to pray for our ancestors. But initially I pictured like black people and like the indigenous people and Dancing with Wolves. So then I drew my DNA, and then there were like, we're 16% European. And we know on my mother's side, they're like Jews, Russian Jews. But anyway, so I started working on this piece called Black Hole with the W, on like how can we, before I can find peace with some police officer, I need to find peace with that, you know, rapist or slave owner whose blood is in my veins. And so the piece is sort of an exploration on internal healing and trying to work on.
I'll check out that Woke channel. Thanks for the heads up.
So if anyone wants to participate, we use data from different
Thanks,
people
Robert.
where they come from.
I'll look at the comments.
Collaborative performances with whomever is in the vicinity, as we like honor our ancestors for like doing the math to get us here in this moment. So it's sort of a celebration of a moment. It's called the odds of now, and then we factor out the odds of all of us being here right now. So imagine your ancestors 7 generations in the past, and they're up there, and they're looking down on us, hoping that we get blessings for what we do, right? And so they had to do all of this math to get each and every one of us here right now. They did centuries of math, you know? And then they were like, all of our kids, they're gonna be together that day. Like they're gonna be together in that moment. They're gonna be feeling each other like in that now, you know? So we're in that now, right now. And if you're feeling it, and, you know, talk to someone new, go get some food, but come back. And we're just going to keep building on this moment and keep building with each other and supporting each other in ways of love. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody who participated. Please pick up trash if you see it, so we leave this place as spotless as we can. Thank you. Save Venice, save the church. Thank you.
Also, don't forget the website savevenice.ca. The website, you know. And Follow our Instagram at SaveXVenice. So it's Save Venice with the X, Instagram and Twitter.
All right, everybody. So it's really windy today, and yeah, if I go to the boardwalk, it's like a 20-minute walk from here, and the wind, the sand will be blowing. So later I'll do a stream from the boardwalk, maybe tomorrow or Tuesday or Wednesday. So I'll check out that Twitch stream, see what that's about. All right, later, everybody. See you next time.